Hi, Amalia, Fadia, Melissa, Trang, and Uma. Mike here. Let me first of all show you the video introduction that'll be played. It lasts about 15 seconds, and it'll show up at the beginning of all episodes on TV. The announcer we have kind of gargles with gravel before each time he speaks, but we'll just have to put up with that. So here it is. Welcome to Women of the World, a show which gives voice to women from around the world who have chosen to make the United States their home. Hosting today's episode is Uma Janga, and here's Uma. At this point, we'll start with a close-up shot of the moderator. I mentioned Uma's name because she'll be moderating the first episode, and Melissa will moderate the second episode. As I've mentioned, each of you is more than welcome to moderate episodes if you wish to do so. Now, in the studio, once we have all the microphones set and all the cameras checked, I'll give a countdown. I'll say 5, 4, 3, and what I would like the moderator to do at that point in her head is count down 2, 1, 0, and then make an opening statement. Those extra 3 seconds are for me to use in the editing process to put some sort of transition in between the video I just showed you and the person speaking. So it's something we always try to look for both at the beginning and at the end of shows. So at the end of the show, when you've said, "Thank you for watching, we'll see you next time," always wait for about 3 seconds looking at the camera before you turn your head or talk to someone else. Now, when you give your opening statement, you don't necessarily have to say your own name and the name of the show, because I have mentioned those in the introductions. But you're welcome to, it does no harm. And particularly for our upcoming first episode, it would be good if Uma would say something like, "Welcome to the first ever edition of Women of the World. I'm Uma Janga." So here's an example of Ali just doing a simple one, and then Nadia doing one where she mentions her own name and the name of the show, both of which are okay.
Welcome to the show.
Hello and welcome to Generations, the classic edition. I'm Nadia Giordana.
Next up is introducing your co-hosts and the guest or guests, and there are a couple of procedures you have to keep in mind about this. One thing to note for sure is be sure and be super sure you know how to pronounce the names of the guests, and because you're perhaps meeting each other for the first time, the names of your co-hosts. The moderator will usually be seated in the middle of the table or maybe at one of the ends of the table, and the guest will be on the opposite end of the table. First, introduce the hosts. And you always want to do this from one side of the table all the way over to the other side where the guest is, and do it in order. And then make sure that everyone knows what order you're going to introduce the hosts in. And that will enable the person in the control room to know which cameras to select as you're introducing the people. So that's the moderator's duty. It's my duty as the floor manager. And it's the control room operator's duty to make sure we know this. And sometimes with 3 people involved, it just doesn't happen and we have to shoot it over again. But that's something you should always do. Here are a couple of examples.
Welcome to the show. We're going to get started right away by introducing our table and our co-hosts with me today. First of all, we have Nava Johnson. Hey. We have Janita Kathy. Hello, Janita. And we have Uma Janga.
Hi, Ali.
Hello. Glad you're all here with me. We're going to start off our show today, first of all, talking about yoga, something that I love and is very near and dear to my heart. So our guest today is Christy Blick. Hello, Christy.
Hi.
Christy has a master's in exercise physiology. She is a cardiac rehab therapist and a yoga teacher. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
That one didn't go exactly as I described, but you'll notice that it's a different shaped table, which makes a little bit of difference as to who sits where and what order people are introduced. This next one is more in line with what I was saying earlier.
And co-hosting with me today is Diane Winkler. Welcome, Diane.
Thank you very much.
It's so great to have you here today.
Thank you.
And we have a special guest, Gloria Van Demeltraat. Gloria has written 3 books that I'm aware of, and she's also a hospice volunteer and worker. And in the process of that, tell me, or correct me, Gloria, you have taken numerous life stories and oral histories. Is that correct?
As was the case in those 2 examples, it's always good for the moderator to give a sentence or 2 of information about the guest, and you can usually get that from the emails I send around to you, or of course you can talk to the guest beforehand and ask her what she would like you to say about her. Let's assume that your guest for the episode is this woman in a 17th century painting. You want to usually have a prepared first question, not prepared questions beyond that, but a good first question to get things going. And it's usually the moderator's duty to do this, although if one of the co-hosts would want to as well, that should be just fine. The question can be pretty general in nature, like, oh, hello, I understand you're an artist, or tell us about your history as a speaker in front of large groups. And then from that point on, one question follows another and the discussion goes forward. One of the duties of the moderator is to keep track of time. The amount of time for each segment will be listed on the schedule you'll be provided with. And you'll be able to do this by looking at a timer we'll have on the table like this. It probably won't be this one, but it's something like this. So as I'm introducing the segment and saying 5, 4, 3, at that point you want to make sure the timer is set at the proper amount of time, let's say 12 minutes, and then click the start button and then start your conversation. Then with about a minute or so left to go in the segment, you want to start thinking about how you're going to close out the segment. And with 30 seconds left or so, it's at that point you need to sort of step in and say, well, our time is low. Thank you very much for being our guest. Up next is a cooking demonstration by Amalia, or something like that. So let me find a couple of examples of these transitions.
What a treasure this is going to be today, and I'm going to take mental notes as I step back and give the floor to you two as you do this, because I intend to at some point very soon do the same thing with my mother and maybe even a favorite aunt that I have. So take it away.
Oh, how nice. Thank you. Wonderful. We're going to be asking questions about.
Well, thank you so much for that information. This was just a fun, helpful conversation. I'm going to remember these tips next time I travel.
Thank you.
Good, I hope so.
Yes.
It will change your travel experiences. It really will.
It sounds like it will.
And travel light.
And travel light.
Travel light.
It's a new policy.
That's the way to go. Wear one, pack one.
Yeah, we got it.
Yep,
Well,
got it.
we're going to switch our topic now, and Merle, you're going to stay with us as we do this. So
okay.
thank you for agreeing to do that. And this is a total surprise to me. I have in this envelope, I have a question that I'm going to pull out in just a minute, and then we are going to all discuss this. So I have no idea what this is. So let's see what.
This is also the same general procedure you'll follow if the moderator is introducing a video clip or, for example, a cooking demonstration. Now, when the moderator sees on the timer that there's about a minute or so left to go in the show, that's when she needs to get ready to get into the action and draw things to a close. You're welcome to offer a few general thoughts, anything you like, some summary thoughts about the conversation. Be sure to thank the guest, thank the host, and then turn to the camera and say something like, "And thank you for watching Women of the World. We'll see you here next time." And after that, I'll add the credits and the show will be over.
And that helps me to learn, and that's what I'm here for.
I think that's great. It culminates in the memory of the good things come to the top, don't they?
Yes.
Yes, they do.
They really do. Well, thank you for watching. This was an interesting show today, and come back and see us again next time.
But in general, if I could answer, surrounded by my life, my experiences, I would say I'm going to be on the higher side. I'm going to go in A. I think I've been surrounded by some good people and have had some great
Definitely.
experiences. But I think we have a ways to go with that A.
Well, you know, on my personal level, I would do this. I would also do an
Yeah,
A.
I would too, in the B plus
Yeah.
range
B
from my
or-
personal experience. But I would also want to claim immunity from being
Yeah.
graded myself. I would be
Yes.
more wary of that.
Well, this has been a fun discussion,
Yes.
and we are now at the end of it. So thank you. Not too bad for a surprise question.
Wow, that was kind of a tough one too.
It was. Well, Merle, again, we want to thank you for being with us today. It was
Oh, it's such a
sincerely
pleasure. I
a
really
pleasure to
enjoyed
meet
meeting
you.
all of you, and
Thank you.
I'm waiting to see your light suitcases on your
All
next
right.
trip.
Okay, we're set with that. And Nadia and Uma, thank you again for being with us. And we thank you for being with us today on It's a Woman's World, and we hope to see you next time.